In today's episode, I'm going to explain to you how I interpret my dreams, and this is also going to help you differentiate between past life memories and any prophetic dreams as well. So, welcome. If you are new to this is the Dream Space Exploration series with Cosmic Mirror. I'm Siobhan. This is the third episode, so I encourage you to maybe go and have a look at the first and second episodes if you've got a gap. It's just telling you a little bit more about what types of dreams you have, what is the dream space, and also just giving you tips on how to dream more and how to work with ensuring that you have more vivid dreams, and also probably why you would want to do that as well. Okay, so today we're not going to be going into lucid dreaming and astral travel just yet. That's going to be coming a little bit later, I believe. For now, I'm first wanting to work with the dreams that we are having internally within our, like, that are related to our subconscious, and then also past life and prophetic dreams. So I also really want to stress that you need to be using your discernment, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So firstly, this is my method, and it's not necessarily what everyone else is doing, but this is what works for me. So I thought I would just give a little bit of, well, it's not my entire method. There's still some additional things which, I feel like there should be some space for you in your practice where you can make it your own as well, if you want to do that, if you choose to do that. So firstly, if you've now followed all the tips and things on how to work with your dreams and how to have better dreams, I would recommend, let's start with, you put ink, like keep a little, like a little notebook. It's like about, it's like this, right? So I also write little notes on here as well. I keep it next to my bed with a pen, just in case, like if you're in the hypnopompic or hypnagogic state, which is just before sleeping, just before waking, there's a lot of very interesting information that comes through in those liminal spaces, which I also like to write down. Or maybe you've woken up in the middle of the night and you just want to make a note of something. So I've got that little book that I keep as well. And then also when you wake up, so the first thing you're going to do when you're waking up is, as much as possible, try not to just get up and move and, move around or do anything, and just allow everything to settle a bit. I also often find, pay attention to what you think about the moment you wake up. It might seem unrelated initially and it'll be random, but it actually is your mind that's pointing out to you that this is relevant to the dream that you've had. Okay, so you also, so you want to just settle a little bit. And I like to do my dream work first thing in the morning. I'll get up, I'll make myself a tea, and then, like, even while I'm making my tea, like, I'm letting things just like percolate. um, Punning around there. Anyway, so letting things percolate and letting things start to formulate as well. Like, your mind's already starting to make some connections here. It's also important when it comes to dream work that you don't immediately land on things with certainty. It's really good to allow a little bit of space for things to settle and to develop. So what I like to do as well, I keep a dream journal, and this is also something I recommend because obviously if you did watch the other videos as well, it really firstly sets in your mind that your dreams are important to you, so you'll have more dreams or vivid dreams, and your subconscious will really start speaking to you. And not just that, but it's also a good way to keep track of everything. And yeah, it's great. I love it. Okay, so what I would do initially is I used to write my dreams out, and I also encourage, if you can, and even if you feel you can't draw, if there's certain things that stuck out to you, draw them in your dream journal, put them in. Like, it also helps, like, when you are going back and looking back on things, especially if you do start having some prophetic dreams. We'll get to that as well, and also maybe why that's useful, and just how to work with that. But those things are also helpful for you to pinpoint as well, and it jogs your memory as well. So it also entrenches that dream in your memory too. So I used to write it out, but sometimes I feel like that was, for me, I do have ADHD, so for me, I think quicker than what I write. So what I do these days is I will dictate, and then the transcription I actually print out, and then I will paste that into the book, and then I'll do my interpretation, I'll write out with my interpretation. Sorry, I had some more time. Okay, so yeah, so I'll write out the interpretation. So you can do it either way. It doesn't matter. Like, it's up to you. It's your preference. Just whatever you feel is easier. But like, what I do like about printing it out is that I start making connotations, and this is also very important. Is that when you are remembering your dream and you are putting it down, there will be things that start coming up that you maybe didn't remember initially, like as you start going into that energy of the dream. This is also why, like, speaking and having it like the transcription happening while I'm speaking, it allows me to close my eyes and to like really visualize and place myself back into the dream, and then just to like pick everything up like that. Very importantly, if there is something that it's making you think of, mention it, make a note of it, because that is very important. It's invariably um, relevant. Sorry, I've got Exeter here. And also, very importantly, is the emotions that you were feeling. So, a lot of the time we don't tend to think of that type of thing when we're writing stuff out in dreams. But if you get a feeling about a certain character, or anything that was happening, that's also quite important. It's very relevant in terms of like a symbolism can mean something for one person, but for another it'll mean something completely different. And sometimes some symbolism for you can change depending on your emotions about it in the dream itself. I've had this like with cats actually, which is very interesting. And especially like the color of the cats. But we will get there. Okay, jumping ahead. Sorry. Okay, so when you start to interpret your dream, so now you've written out your dream, you've noted any emotions that you're feeling, you've noted anything that it was bringing up for you, what it was making you think about, and you've gotten everything out. Interestingly enough, I did mention the other video that I sometimes will have 8 dreams in a night, and what happens in those is that it could be different for everyone else. I wouldn't know because I'm not dreaming for you. Well, yeah, that's something else. But anyway, so for myself, what I find is those 8 dreams are all related, and invariably each dream will have a specific function. So, for instance, I will often have like the first dream will be. Oftentimes, the first ones are always kind of to do with animals, which is interesting because those are like the more core archetypes and aspects and things like that we have. And what happens is that that initial dream will set the scene, and it gives me an idea of what it is that I'm working with. And the reason I'm mentioning this, by the way, is sometimes if I have these dreams, and I'm too tired and I won't have those all in one night, then what happens is they kind of get spread out over a couple days, which is really interesting. So you still get the message that you're needing to get. So you mustn't worry about that. Okay, so then it will start with, maybe it will set the scene, and then like the next couple dreams will be in a very specific way. It will show me maybe how I that pulled through, like it will show like the origination of something, and then it will show how that like happened in my past, how it affected me in my past. It will show maybe how I've reacted to it in the past. And then I'll be presented with something that I've learned. I'll see like how this situation has changed. There's been a catalyst. And then I will see, for instance, there will be a new scene where it's kind of like a test, right? That your psyche like goes through. And then you have the same situation, but then you see how you've overcome it, okay? And you see how your behavior has changed in that instance. So you'll see, like, if this is now where this is spread up like over a couple nights, you start to get an idea about what that dream's framework is, okay? So for what I'm trying to say is, like, for instance, sometimes dreams are telling us that something is an issue. Sometimes they're bringing up something from the past for us to look at. Maybe it's like referring to something that's happening now that is stemming from something in our past that we are trying to learn from. This is also, by the way, where sometimes you'll have like a past life memory that pops up that you didn't go and have an intention to remember, is also relevant to what you're going through now. It's like the time in your life where you're like working through it. So that, or there will be a dream that will show you this is a behavior that you're stuck on or a habit that you're stuck on, or it will show you, like I really do like the review kind of dreams where like you get shown that you've worked through something and that you are showing up differently. I find like sometimes I'll get like a few of those, and then each dream I get a little bit better in how I'm dealing with the situation. Okay, sorry. Okay, so very interesting for me as well, I always find, is the animals. Sometimes I am an animal in the dreams, oftentimes like I'm different types of animals, or I'll have like animal families that speak. I've got a lot of talking animals in my dreams. Um, but those are also, because I do work with animals quite a bit in terms of like my symbolism and stuff like that, that's relevant for me. So I don't know, it might be different for you. But it's also very much aspects of ourself, okay? And, it's the same as with people in your dreams will be whether it's someone that you know, okay, it could be an aspect of that person that you are relating to. Now, it gets a little bit interesting and it gets a little bit tricky. Like you start to be able to learn with your discernment in how to do this. But sometimes I find that I will dream of somebody, and it will be an aspect of them that what I equate them with is what is being brought to mind about something within me. So it's like that mirror effect, okay? Or it could be that they are showing me an aspect within others that I am dealing with. Okay. Now, invariably, this is where it's so interesting, is because of like, the Hermetic principles and that mirror effect. When you are bringing someone like that into your life in general, there is a aspect within you that is being mirrored or being triggered or being there's a shared energy, okay, in some sense. Like maybe someone has got some other trait that you don't really like very much, but actually it's maybe part of your shadow, that you are now trying to work with and you're trying to heal. And so always do, when it comes to people, always first look at it, see how that could be an aspect of self. And obviously first look at what is it that about this person that's familiar, or what do you like have this, what connotation do you have with this person, and what is it trying to like bring up. For instance, okay, this is cool. So I don't know, like the way the subconscious speaks, I find it incredible. So there's, for instance, I've got a colleague, and this colleague has I had to really think about this one, but basically this colleague has got high blood pressure. And whenever I think of them, I always actually think of their high blood pressure because, it's noticeable. And this was um, my mind's way of pointing this out to me, because I did recently have like a whole thing with high blood pressure, et cetera, and it was really cool how it was done. So yeah, so for instance, it's not always like a bad thing or something like that, but it's like, just like a marker for you. So always try and first think of like, okay, what is it this person's representing? And especially if it's someone that you know. If it's not someone that you know, it could just be a dream character. It could just be, someone showing up in a certain way. And it's very invariably the people in your dream are aspects of self, okay? We don't ever really want to, or I feel like this, I don't ever really want to like get rid of any of those aspects. What I've done in my dream work is I will find how some of the aspects are maybe distorted. And then when I do work, it's really beautiful to see how they change and morph over time, and their character and changes, their personality changes. And, because obviously as I've been healing and working with that aspect in myself, and especially like family systems, I had like a whole 2 weeks of family systems the whole time where I was like reworking and reparenting, and, it was pretty amazing. So, okay, so on that aspect, there's also, I will say this, but I'm talking more in terms, firstly, of just in your subconscious. But sometimes, and this is moving more into like the lucid dreaming astral realms, Sometimes those are actually the energies of other people. I get this, but you'll be able to tell it will be different. It will feel different. And also, what happens when that happens with me is I see what they are doing. Sounds really creepy, but it's not like it's not something like they are not wanting. Put it that way. Like it's sometimes like people reach out, people's energy reaches out to you. So what I mean by that is like, for instance, I will see someone at like a festival and I see what the stage looks like and everything, or I see something they're doing with their family and then I'll like tell them about it. I'm laughing because it's like, I know it probably sounds a little creepy, but I mean, hey, what am I going to do? Be like, tell everyone, like, and it happens quite a bit with my colleagues. I feel like it's also like people, sometimes when people are just like a little bit energetically, not energetically entangled, but yes, maybe just sometimes reliant on you or just like, interact with you quite a bit or just something that was going on. Yeah, so that happens quite a bit. It's not always the best, I will say. Sometimes it's not great, but whatever. I mean, like they're not going through great stuff, and but then I'll go to them and I'll say, "Hey, this is what's happening," da da da, and they'll be like, "Yeah." So I was also, yeah, never mind. Don't worry about that. You guys don't need to know about that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure, like, if you do have experiences like that, please tell me. I'd love to know. If you feel guided to, obviously, you don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. Anyway, so that's just an aside. But invariably, it will be in like the subconscious realms and like, your internal space. You'll be able to tell if it is someone else's energy, like them actually coming through. There is a difference to that. So that's also the details are more vivid. So there's also a reason why I'm mentioning all of this to you, so that you can also note when this is happening as well. Okay, so and you'll probably see sometimes people do keep showing up like that, and if it is vivid like that, that person will eventually contact you as well. This is in terms of maybe some people you don't really want to be in contact with. But it also notifies you as well, so it's good to be able to then protect your energy. So it's actually works in your favor. Otherwise, this would be happening and you wouldn't know. So yeah, there we go. All right, back to the dreams. Okay, so now you've got the different dreams. You can try and determine what type of dream it is. You can get a feel for, is this dream pointing out like an issue or something like that. So when you start with your interpretation, you'll start with the theme of the dream. I like to look at anything that was recurring throughout the dream, and you'll find that there often is. Even sometimes when you go and interpret the symbols, some of the symbols will seem completely unrelated, but then when you interpret them, they are actually very similar in meaning. And you'll find that your symbols will evolve, not just within the dream, but over time as well, which is incredibly beautiful. When you start like making your own internal dictionary, and this is why it's also important not to delve too deeply into a symbol. I think I mentioned in the other video, it's like you're walking through like a bog with quicksand. It sounds so bad, but and there's like unsure footing, and then you can find the path, but you need to be feeling your way out. Okay, so it's really try to work with your dreams, your symbols, and things like that. Especially like later, when we talk later in the video, it's really important to do that so that you don't go astray. Okay. Leave some space for interpretation, leave some space for growth, and you'll see how your symbols keep returning and they repeat over time. One of my favorite symbols that I had, for instance, was a lime green butterfly. And initially this butterfly was trapped inside a wall in a hole, and it was like crushed between this wall. So it wasn't great. This was to do with my heart chakra. It was also everything around the dream was very relevant as well. And then as I was working through with this energy, most recently, so I was working with like masculine, feminine energy, and then I was there with the masculine energy, which is like internal masculine. Very often, it's important to look at other aspects in your dream that are representing your internal masculine or internal feminine. And then we were both like there at this field, And it wasn't just this butterfly, because I was working on another butterfly as well. But it was this massive human-sized green butterfly, and he was busy flying towards me with the other butterfly. And I was telling this my internal masculine. I was like, "Look, my dream, my dream. I dreamt of this." Anyway, so pretty cool how those things evolve, and how, yeah, it's really beautiful. Okay, so I hope this isn't too confusing, guys. I know I'm all over the place, but it's just how my mind works. So please excuse me. Okay, so now you've looked at what is the theme, possible theme that's happening. What's the feeling that you're getting from it? And try not to be too nitty gritty here. Just be broad about it. And then you're going to start working through from the beginning of the dream, from where you remember. And if you're struggling to remember a little bit before that, don't stress too much about it. Your subconscious will keep giving you the message until you've honed it in and you've worked on it. And so, yeah. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with your first scene. And I always like to start with the area, the space, the place that it's in, the location. Especially especially when it's like a house, for instance, is really interesting. You're wanting to look at stuff like, is it your house? Is it someone else's house? I often like to think of it in terms of houses are something that we'll dream of quite often. But like, for instance, your own house is like your own mental space, your own inner world, your own like being and consciousness. And then I like to think of it, but it could be like, you can go and you need to go and interpret. But I always like to think of someone else's house as like, someone else's beliefs, or maybe something else that's like been imprinted on me, or I'm like functioning within someone else's paradigms type of thing. But even with the house, depending what room in the house it is very important. Like a basement, your subconscious. The attic is like, your higher understanding, etc., etc. Bedroom, very important, like your personal private, what you keep hidden, all that type of stuff. So you're going to look at your location first, because that sets the scene. That sets like the broader theme that you're dealing with, okay, or where in your conscious mind you are. I see my own, because the way that I dream as well, like I have places and they're all connected, so I can tell you how to get from this place to wherever else, because that's how I travel through. So for me, it's like my mind is mapped out into a world, which is really cool, because then I get to revisit places as well when I've worked through stuff and I see how it's changed, which is again amazing stuff. All right, so you're going to look at the location. Then you're going to look at what it is in there that's happening. So you're going to start with the first, as you work through the story. And you're going to be looking at, so obviously when it comes to the people, I explained to you how you're going to look at those traits and how they're making you feel, etc., etc. And then you're going to look at like the different things that you're working with. It's very important here to note even the smallest detail, especially if something's made an impression on you. You might think a hamburger is just a hamburger, but it's not. Okay, there's like so much going on. Like, so hamburgers are one of my very important symbols, and it means something really profound. But I mean, I have to laugh because it's kind of silly, but whatever. Okay, so for instance, you have like a cat. Okay, I love the cat, so easy to use. You've got a cat, and you're going to look at, what color the cat is. Is the cat aggressive? Are you afraid of the cat? You're going to take all those things into account, even numbers. Okay. Now, interesting, for example, if you've got a trunk, okay, you're going to look at what's inside the trunk. What did you need to use to open the trunk? All the other little details that you're picking up there. And then you start like working through your storyline in that way. And what I like to do is, so I've been using, you can use other places or stuff like that. But the first thing I like to do is I like to have like a connotation come through. And then you are also going to, like, anything that it makes you think of, anything that it's like triggering, or like, in thoughts, in your thoughts, is going to be relevant. Okay, very much relevant. And then I like to use a website. I've been using them for a long time. I think I did say like when was that, like, now it's about 15 years. They're called dreammoods.com. So they take, I mean, they've got some Freud stuff in there, but it's the Carl Jung stuff that they have, the symbolism that they've taken. Actually, recently, guys, I don't know, I can show this, yeah, I suppose. So they recently, well, I found a book of theirs, which they normally sell it on the website, but they don't sell it anymore. And I think it's because, I mean, there are some misprints in this, but it's fine. It's the same as what's on the website. So sometimes I'll just write it in it wherever there's a misprint at the top. It's kind of like the top line's gone. Okay, whatever. Probably don't need to know that either. But maybe you do. Maybe you do. So maybe don't get the book just yet, or maybe get the book if you're happy to do that. I find it nice to have the book with me. The website, yeah, you'll probably just have to search and then go and use the alphabetical anyway, because there is a little bit of things with the website. It's been going for a very long time. Like, I can't believe the website's still up, but yeah. Anyway, so I would recommend them, highly recommend them. And you'll see, like, in their meanings that they have, there will be a few examples. There'll be a few examples. Sometimes they'll actually have something extremely specific. Like, I came across something the other day. I was like, I cannot believe they had this very specific thing in here. It's like, no ways, but it was there. And then in each meaning, there will be a lot of different instances of something. So, for instance, let's say it's a house, or we've used house. Let's say, let's say it's a dog, and the dog is barking, or the dog is doing this, or this, or this, or this. Okay, and you'll be able to then generally get an idea of the meaning. Now, this is a guide. Okay, so if you are feeling something else, very important to first go with what you were feeling, all right, and what you have, like, in your mind, what you equate this symbol with. But there will also sometimes be differentiations on what the meaning could be, depending on how you were feeling about it. And yeah, so you need to use your discernment here, and you need to see, like, when you go through it, something will click, something will feel right about that meaning for you. All right. So then you write out, and you're going through all of these things, and then you actually have, at the end of this, you have a whole narrative of what's happening, and you start to also then see, like I said, how this has changed, how, if it appears again, how did it change, how did it make you feel, all of that type of stuff is relevant. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, sometimes your dream leaves you on a cliffhanger. I just want to say that there's not always a conclusion. So, like I said, some of your dreams will have, like, that review where it is talking about stuff that you've understood, and now that you're showing up in a different way, which is really cool. But I think that is everything for the dreams. Yes. Now, we're going to move on to past life remembrances and prophetic dreams. All right. I cannot stress enough that you really need to use your discernment with this, okay? And with the dream work, you really must, start to exercise your intuition. And like I said, leave a little bit of space for interpretation if you're not sure, okay? So don't decide on something just yet if you're not sure. All right. With that being said, be responsible. I had to be very sure about whether I was actually going to share this, because it's a big responsibility that you have to ensure that you are not misinterpreting something. Okay. So I will start with past life remembrances. Now, I will say that for myself, I only take something as a past life remembrance confirmed if I'm able to confirm the details that I see. And invariably I am. A lot of the times, like, I'm given the name of a place, I'm given a date, I'm given, I know where it is, and I can go and find it and see it, and I can actually see the place that I saw. And, the history matches up to it, that type of thing. And it's not something like I knew before. So I want to say that to you. Like, I do not take something as a past life until that has happened. So you can maybe also, if you are setting intentions to try and remember a past life, set the intention that you want something that you are going to be able to verify as well. Now, past lives can show up for you without you setting an intention. I've had this happen to me quite a few times, and oftentimes when this happens, it's quite intense, you know. Some of the stuff. Let's put it this way. So when you have a past life, or when I've had a past life memory come up, it's often been tied to a very strong emotion. Very strong emotion. There goes my throat. So I won't go into details because it's quite intense. But oftentimes it's often to do with how you died, or some other trauma that happened. Um, so so anyway, for instance, I will often get like it's really strange because especially the one that was very traumatic. This is the most intense that I've had this feeling happen. But like I was seeing something, and what will happen is like sometimes the part that's the most emotionally intense. That's when it actually imprints on your memory. Um, it's extremely vivid. It's almost like you are going through this, and then it's like a snapshot, and then I get like it's an actual vibration that I feel, and then it goes like like that, and then, like I can feel it. I can feel the adrenaline rush through my body, like while I'm in sleep, and like that feeling. Like I don't know if you've ever had something really hectic happen to you. I get that, which is just like it's like a bit of a trauma response. It's just like your whole body goes and you can't even hear. It's like really scary. So I've had that a few times. So that will often happen. So this is invariably like this is what I will see, or like I will see something. Oftentimes, with these past life memories, I see myself, okay, and then when the moment is most intense, then I'm in my body in the memory, okay. So that's something that's a correlation between all of them, and then also something else to look at. So yeah, like I said, you will also know people's names. You will also automatically know the history and the story, the backstory of what's happening, even if it's not happening in that scene. And yeah, like I said, I've had like, I'll hear the name of a place or something like that. So when you have a dream like this and you think it could possibly be a past life, if you are able to confirm it, confirm it. Otherwise, you can try and treat it as a dream and see if you can interpret it. But oftentimes, something like this, you can tell it's not. You can tell it's different. And like I said, like with my dreams, for instance, I'm always in the first person. And with past lives, I will see myself and in the past life. Now, what you can do, and this is where it gets a little different, is when I've been notified of a past life, notified. Okay, anyway, just yeah. So when I've been notified of a past life, then I will go and like ask and set an intent. If I need to, I'll go and ask and set the intention to know more about it, and then I will be given more snippets. But then the rest of the snippets are not that intense because it's not the most intense part. Okay, that's what sits with you the most, and the emotion that you feel from it. Like I've, for instance, woken up from past life remembrance where I was crying for a good hour afterwards because of that incredible pain and remembrance of everything. It was really intense. Um, but yeah, I think the other thing I wanted to mention, see now it went away. Okay, it'll probably come back to me. I hope so. Anyway, so then when you do have other snippets of memory that go with it, you will see that they aren't as intense, but they will maybe give you a little bit more of the story as well as you need. I think that's everything for past lives for now. I don't want to go too much into it. Is there something else? I don't think so. I might remember towards the end of the video and then I'll let you know. I see I'm at 33 minutes, so I don't want to bore everybody. Okay, so now we're looking at also very interesting. If you want to look at your South Node, some of the past lives you'll be able to see which are more further out and which are most recent. But your South Node, if you enter it in astrology, is also to do with your past life and karmic lessons and things like that. So that's very helpful. That was very helpful for me, especially in learning lessons I needed to now. When the most recent one came up for me, learning that like cementing, because I was busy learning that, like and then like moving through to a new, basically like a new timeline and a new space, like clearing that karma, which is amazing. Okay, yes, I think that's it can be very, very useful for you. But yes, again, use your discernment, and like I said, make sure that you can try and confirm first before you take that as a past life. Okay. All right. So let's get to prophetic dreams. Prophetic dreams are very interesting. Again, when I have not asked for them, I will often get a prophetic dream where I will see what, like, exact, okay, places, like I'll see the scene play out completely. It's going to happen, and then if I ask, if I ask to have a prophetic dream, I will often get like, but I'll ask for like a specific time. For instance, you can do that. You can set that intention, and then I will get like a symbolic dream to interpret, to give me a fuller story about it. So with the prophetic dreams, might still be some symbolism that's on either side sandwiched in there, which gives you a little bit more of a framework to work on and more information about it. But I will say, when it comes to prophetic dreams that I haven't asked for, I will very often get a date. So that's also something to look out for. So I will know. So like my calendar is full of like dates on, and then I'll have like and then leave it. Okay. So if you've gotten a date on something, the thing about prophetic dreams is not that everything is set in stone. But for instance, you can ask to be shown your best possible timeline, so you have these little milestones which you can try and meet, which is really helpful. I've had that happen where I was also given, not necessarily in the dream space, but also just by my guides, I was given like a few milestones on my best possible timeline. So then, like, at the time when it was happening, then I was like guided to go and look back in my books, this is where it gets useful. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this like that I saw, I didn't have a date for this prophecy, but then it happened the very next day. After I'd gone and looked back in my book and I saw this, it popped up and I was like, oh, and then the next day it happened and I was like, oh wow, okay, cool. So it'll come through, if you're following that intuition and that guidance. But yeah, so then, like, it's very important, like, especially not to be too focused on it, and not to like live your life by it. So it's like nice to put into your calendar and understand that things can change, and it's very often like a nice guideline. For myself, I like to use it in terms of, it helps me to the ones that I don't ask for, especially, it helps me to know that I'm in alignment and I'm in tune. So when one pops up, which I'm at the moment in a month of prophecy, which is pretty cool, what I like to go and do is I number my books, and then I'll also just go and write down, so on my calendar it'll pop up and then it will say which book number and which book page, and then I can just go back and I won't look at it until the actual day is passed or the time period's passed, and then I'll go and look at it afterwards. Well, I'm say maybe sometimes just a little bit before if I'm a bit curious, but yeah, that's up to you. So that's also where it gets interesting. I try not to prophecy for other people because I think I don't know what I think about it. I just feel it. I don't feel it's entirely correct. I don't know. There's something iffy for me about it, so I just don't do it. I have had. I mean, sometimes if I have like a really intense warning about something where I feel like someone can get hurt, then I will go say something. I've done that before. Like for instance, someone was also, it was about them getting a gun and their family, and then I haven't spoken to this person in like 15 years, and I was like, listen here, but they know that I know things, and then I was like, hey, so I just wanted to say anything, do you have a gun? And the person's like, oh, I just ordered one. I'll get him, like, so like sometimes I will, but otherwise I won't. Like, it only really comes through if it's like something really in need of something to be said, but generally I try not to do that. Like specifically for people, like that. It's, I don't know. Anyway, another tangent. Okay. I think that's everything. So try to use like the prophecy, try to use it for yourself. Also just, I think it's also just because, I don't know, like now I'm thinking about it, okay, I'm thinking. It's kind of like, I feel like people will take it too seriously, and they won't allow space for the ability to change it if they want to. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. I feel like when you're doing it for yourself and you're working with your own discernment and then and your own intuition, you're exercising that muscle. And yeah, so I think feel like people need to have discernment and intuition when they are getting a very specific prophecy like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I feel like I'm done on that something. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So, if you enjoyed this, please do like it and just leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys, even if it's if only if you want to. But yeah, if you wanted to ask me any questions, if you wanted to ask me advice, if there was a question that you had because you thought I missed something, please tell me because maybe I did, and that was one of the things I forgot. So I can be able to tell you. And yeah, go and like the go and watch, sorry, the other videos if you want to. It's going to tell you a little bit more about it. And I'm going to be dropping some more stuff in the series as well. What else? I think that's everything. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And let me know if there's anything else that you wanted me to maybe do a video on, and I'll see if I can. Or yeah, we'll let you know what you're interested in. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.